We have a lot of ground to cover today in a short amount of time. I'll start with our first question. A major theme we hear from our members is that the pandemic has accelerated the need for digital skills and highlighted the importance of connectivity for learning and for work. It has also underscored the speed by which people can adapt to big change. How can and should we approach education and workforce training differently as a result? Dr. Hinojosa, I'll start with you.
Well, thanks, Drex. Thanks for the question. And it's a very important question, and I argue that we're the last industry to change, and we have to. We talk about the creative tension, and when the rubber band stretches and then we go back to normal, we slam back. We can't do that anymore. We have to learn from businesses, and that's why we're so pleased with the partnerships that the Chamber's given us. Our P-Tech students are learning how to do that. We are educators. We are professional educators. So part of that is our responsibility as to how we approach things. I'm very pleased with our connectivity project that everybody stepped up on. But now we got to do things differently, and we got to learn from each other. So I'm looking forward to the journey as we move forward on this processes.
From the private sector or from the industry partner perspective, we have to pivot and provide opportunities for work-based learning through digital means if necessary. As we think about how we are shifting our employees more towards various models of working and contributing to the business, we also have to think about how we do that for the next generation of talent in the workforce. Thompson Reuters was definitely faced with the challenge when the pandemic occurred. We were planning to bring in 30 graduates from Dallas ISD's P-Tech program into a paid internship program. We brought 30 of them into our internship program, all virtually, and we helped them set up their computer equipment from home, and they were successfully able to complete the internship. But the highlight to the story was that we hired 23 of those students into full-time roles at Thompson Reuters. We were so delighted, still delighted, and we are really seeing their capability.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Gabe. I'll turn to another question, which is, how are you guys feeling about the talent pipeline's capacity and ability to keep up with the rapid changes needed by our business community? Michelle, I'll start with you.
It is projected that automation will replace approximately 85 million jobs by 2025. We're seeing enormous demands are being placed on our talent pipeline at this moment of economic transformation. And as a result, the pipeline in itself must be nimble, not only to address employer needs, but flexible to incorporate workers' voices and their lived experiences, and adaptable to respond to the dramatic shifts in the nature of work.
That turns us to our last question, which is really around what can exactly the business community do to support more robust talent development? Gabe, I'll start with you.
Yes, Drex, I again totally agree with Michelle. I think that's really the $1 million question. Do we have the infrastructure in place? And I think that we're getting there. But in order for this to be successful, there has to be more partnership from the business community, and it has to be more collaboration from the business community and the academic institutions. You can't prepare the talent for the jobs if you don't know what the jobs are that are needed, and vice versa. The business community can't complain about not having the talent if they're not willing to help in growing the talent. So it's all hands on deck at this point.
We're putting Dallas Thrives together, and we're going to, in a few years, be able to have that capacity in that pipeline. Right now, we have maybe 2 to 3% of our students that are participating in getting stackable credentials, industry certificates that will help them execute in a workplace. But in a few short years, our goal that is in 3 years, we'll have 40% of our students coming out of high school going directly into the workforce with those stackable credentials.
How about you, Michelle?
We need to make workforce equity another goal that we are pushing our talent pipeline to achieve. Invest in skills-based hiring, retention, and advancement strategies to reduce racial occupational segregation that results from hiring biases and degree inflation. And lastly, invest in proven workforce training programs to remove barriers to entry and advancement in the labor market.
What are your thoughts, Brendan?
In Texas, especially Dallas, we've been leading the nation in terms of job growth. And it won't last if we don't continue to innovate and make sure our ecosystem and pipeline are the strongest in the country. What's exciting is there's many things in our region that organizations like the DRC and others are committed to promoting and producing better talent, from existing career programs like career and technical education to inventive programs like P-TECH. Our pre-K through 12 systems are really thinking about student outcomes in the long run for our workforce. Our higher education systems continue to produce more graduates than any region in Texas. But that's not the only area we need to focus. Here at PNC, we spend a lot of time on early childhood education. And there's decades of research that show how access to high quality early childhood education positively impacts long-term educational success, as well as life success for students, especially those who are underserved. All of this is accretive to the workforce.
Thank you to each of you for your very thoughtful perspectives.